Welcome to Art Lounge Alley, everyone. This is Figure Drawing Basics Part 42. I'm your host. I will be jumping into it in just a few minutes after I introduce newcomers to the Patreon page. This is it. This is the Art Lounge Alley Patreon page, and I would like to start off by talking about Tier 1 Official Patron. $2 per month, pretty affordable. You get access to the Discord server, patron name listed in the credits, and be part of the patron-only community. I will be doing credits at the end of the stream once you guys start pledging to tiers, and you will see your name there as a thank you. Next, we got Tier 2 All Access Patrons, $5 per month. All previous tier benefits, plus having early access to finished pages and exclusive content. So you guys are going to get to see the work that I finished before any other social media platform does. And you'll see things that other social media platforms won't get to see. So some like old school drawing, some different ideas, that sort of thing. You will also get access to the Discord server, as I mentioned previously, and have your name listed in the credits as well. Tier 3, critique submission tier, $15 per month. If you are struggling with something you're working on, you've been putting in effort, you don't know what's going wrong, you want to get some fresh perspective on it, you want to see where you can improve, this is a perfect tier for that. Once you pledge $15, you will have access to the Discord server. You can access the server there, send me what you're working on, and I will start critiquing it on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for 2 hours from 8 until 10. I'm going to be critiquing all the submissions, or as many as I can fit into the 2 hours. And you'll also get all the previous tier benefits as well, and access to the artist submission Discord channel. So for those of you who are submitting to this tier, you guys have your own channel. You guys can interact with each other, share resources, share your process, talk about your process with others, or just talk about pretty much anything under the sun. It's a channel to create a community and share some connection with each other. Next, we got Kickstarter Patron, $25 per month. And what this tier is going to give you is a high resolution digital painting of you. So I'm going to start doing that on Thursdays from 8 until 10. It's going to substitute any other stream that I'm going to be doing on Thursdays, like the one I'm doing today. So for that time, I'm going to be doing a digital painting of you. So once you guys pledge to this tier, send me your profile photo from your head down to your chest through the Discord server, and I'll start doing a high resolution digital painting of you. I do encourage you guys to wear masks, makeup, glasses, expressive face expressions, hats, and accessories. They're not required, but I think it'll make the stream more fun. I think you'll have a pretty fun profile photo result as well. But yeah, as I mentioned, you could just send me a simple photo of you from your head down to your chest. You'll get early access to finished pages, work in progress, patron name listed in the credits as well, and access to the Discord server. Now, the benefit of the Discord server is that it is for all social media platforms. So whatever social media platform I advertise on, you guys have a chance to all come together in one channel, one chat room, basically, and get to know each other, create a community, create some friendships, create some connections, share your ideas and thoughts and expression. That's pretty much one of the biggest things about Art Lounge Alley. Next, we got Tier 4 Artist Promotion. So if you're an intermediate artist, if you're an advanced artist, and you want to get some promotion time, you want to spend 5 minutes on the stream talking about your work, talking about pretty much whatever it is that you'd like to present. Now, there are requirements for this, so make sure you read through this thoroughly, you understand the requirements for it, and if you have any questions, ask away. Ask me through chat, ask me through social media platforms, and I'll be happy to answer them. And it's open to all sorts of artists, so if you know anybody who would like to do that, who would like to promote on all the different social media platforms, who wants to be part of an artistic community, introduce them to the Art Lounge Alley. To be glad to take a look and see what kind of work they're creating and promote it on stream. So yeah, it's open to comedians, dancers, musicians, architects, animators, painters, poets, performance artists, filmmakers, or artists with interesting content. It's a pretty broad opening, basically. And then finally, the last tier, $65 per month, tier 5 private tutoring. Pretty self-explanatory. It's limited to only 15 people. That's about all the time that I could afford at the moment. So if you're looking to get more personalized private guidance, this tier is excellent for that. And it's really for anybody. So if you're just starting out drawing, if you want to learn how to draw, if you want to improve your drawings, this is a great opportunity for that. So I'm going to be sending you one video per week, going into detail about what you send me. So once you pledge to this tier, you got to send me what you're working on, or what you've been working on, or and then from there I will start doing a 30-minute video helping you, guiding you to improve it. There will be homework. I'm going to assign you guys some things to do through the week so that you could keep drawing, you keep the fire going, and feel inspired, and keep practicing until next week, where I send you the next video. So I think it'll also give you your money's worth. You'll improve faster when you draw more, as opposed to just drawing once. You'll also get a private Discord channel dedicated just for you. So each member who pledges to this tier, 15 of you, will have your own private Discord channel between me and you. So if you have any questions, if you want to leave me comments, if you want to leave me your progress that you're working on, it's an excellent place for that. Nobody else is going to see it. It's just going to be between me and you. And of course, you will get all the previous tier benefits as well as a Discord channel dedicated just for you guys who pledge to this tier. So all 15 of you will have we'll have a chat room where you guys can get to know each other, and just like the tier 3 members, you guys can talk amongst each other, get to know each other, share resources, talk about your process, or pretty much anything, really. It's an opportunity for you guys to connect and feel inspired and inspire each other. So with that said, y'all, I'm going to jump into today's stream. And I'm going to continue from where we left off yesterday, which is basically just filling up pages. You know, I really thought that actually I was going to be finished with the sketchbook a lot faster than it's been going. But I really want to feel like I've thoroughly gone through every single page, filled up as much as possible. Didn't miss any opportunity to practice whatever it is, whether it's figures or the face or any of that stuff, and just fill up the page. I'll show you guys that in just a moment.
But it's not a thing about making it accurate.
So here it is, from start to finish. Every single page is pretty much covered. I've done some figure studies, some live drawings of the figure, which is an excellent way to practice multiple things, such as getting faster. You know, the body is still in motion, even if the person is sitting still, but it trains you to recognize certain lines, to memorize certain lines, and also it's a lot more difficult So it's a challenge. You know, you're upping your game there. You have to try and capture the likeness, try to get down the lines quickly before the body starts moving or shifting, because even the slightest change is going to it's going to change the angle. So let's say if you're drawing the nose and the model moves just a little bit, now that line is completely changed. So when you're looking to compare and see if you've actually captured the likeness of that person, suddenly things are starting to shift. And you have to just kind of work with that. So it's a real challenge to do it. I highly encourage people to do it as well. And through those challenges, you will find some lines that you really like. You know, there's going to be some things that you notice, like, oh, that turned out pretty good. Even though it might not look exactly like the model, what you end up doing might influence how you draw from imagination later. Or, you know, when you're working on something, you could be like, I really like what I did here, and just kind of transition that into your own personal drawing. So there's multiple benefits to it. It's a really good way to improve your skill and your drawing in general, like technique wise, anatomy wise, perspective wise, speed wise. Like all those things are being challenged, are being trained and exercised when you are drawing from life. But yeah, I just wanted to flip through here, guys, and show you pretty much from page to page everything is covered, and I highly encourage you guys to do the same thing. Don't waste any paper. It's a sketchbook, you know. This isn't something that you're going to be presenting as like your final anything really. It's an opportunity for you to just feel free and to do things and experiment and make mistakes and draw ugly drawings, and just be okay with that, you know. Unlike anything else that you have to do, where you have to be very perfectionist about it in some ways, or really put in a lot of work into your final piece, your sketchbook is kind of the opposite of that. You get to just experiment and draw and have a good time with it. So treat it that way. Draw all over the place. Draw, like I said, make all sorts of drawings. Experiment. If you feel some sort of restriction, push yourself to experiment with that in your sketchbook. And like I mentioned plenty of times in the stream before, it gives you an opportunity to really collide objects together. And I noticed that with a lot of artists, or a lot of people who are just starting out to draw. I wouldn't say people who are in more of a professional level do that, but a lot of beginners are very much scared of drawing objects close to each other, you know, drawing figures close to each other. They just want to kind of isolate every single part of the drawing and have it be the center focus. While that is good, it's also good to practice, as you see here, having objects collide with each other. You could see that the foot is over the other figure's foot and behind it, in front of it. So just practicing, you know, forefront and background drawing and having them interact with each other that way. It'll also improve it'll improve your drawings. It'll improve how interesting your work is going to look, as well as when you're drawing comics, for example. As you could see here, it's required to do that. So the sooner you start practicing it, the sooner you get used to doing that, and the more comfortable you're going to get with it, the better for you in the long run. And it's an excellent way to do that, because you can make mistakes. You could make it look ugly. You could make it could look wrong or whatever it is. But knowing that you're pushing your own boundaries, you're going beyond things you're comfortable with, and you're trying to learn and improve in that field as well. It's important. So just demonstrating to you guys how that I've been pushing for that for pretty much every single page. And I'm just going to continue to do it. Like, there's still space. Kind of going to leave these alone because they are going to be examples that I talk about. I don't want to crowd it too much. and confuse you guys with it. But for instance here, I'm not using anything. Maybe even on the bottom over here, I'm going to fill it up with all sorts of drawings. Some over here as well. These I'm going to leave alone. Maybe some drawings on the bottom here as well. So there's still some room to go. You know, these are the last few pages really, so I'm just really trying to push for as much space to cover up as possible. All right, so enough jibber jabber. I am gonna start at the bottom over here. The other challenge is drawing your subjects smaller. So they might be pretty big on your reference page, you know, whatever it is that you're drawing from. But the challenge is going to be to change that scale to suit your need, rather than trying to copy exactly the same scale as it is in the reference. That proves itself challenging, you know, especially when you're trying to copy it as it is. Trying to see what that is exactly. Could be from the paint. I'm just quickly using basic shapes to flesh out the figure. So as I mentioned, the more you practice these basic shapes, the more you practice how to draw this figure, or how to draw the figure using them, the faster you're going to get at it, and the faster it's going to be your go-to whenever you start sketching. So rather than just making random lines, squiggles and such, and then crossing your fingers and hoping for the best, you're actually saving yourself time of wrestling with that. Wrestling with proportion, wrestling with anatomy, by just simplifying, by creating some sort of starting point for your drawing. You know, you want, and it's pretty well structured using that. And if you guys were present for drawing comics, you could see how pretty much that really helps in making sure that everything fits within the panel. You know, if you start out right away trying to draw the details of the, let's say the forehead and the nose and the mouth and the chin, you eventually get to the hair and you start putting in the details in the hair. By the time you get to the waist, you realize, whoa, I drew the head too big. You know, the hair is going further down than the actual reference and what the panel, where it belongs in the actual panel itself. And then you got a big problem. You spent that time drawing out all this detail. It looks great, the face is great, the hair is great, but all of a sudden you realize, damn, it's off the page, it's off the panel, it doesn't even fit in the panel anymore. So you have to erase all that time and effort you put into making things look right. So this really helps prevent that. You know, it's quick, it's easy, it's pretty simplified. You don't have to get into too much detail. All you have to do is just really learn how to draw these basic shapes, and get quicker and quicker at it. And this is a perfect way to do that. Now, it's also, these pages are also, some of these pages, not all of them, are available on the Patreon page. So, perfect opportunity for you to get more and more familiar with the head as the unit of measurement. So as you can see here, it's pretty simplified. You got 2 heads for the top part of the body and 2 heads for the bottom part of the body, and it's right next to the legs, second half of the human figure. And you could see how it plays the same, the head measurement plays in the same to the legs as well. So 2 heads for the top part of the legs, 2 heads for the bottom part of the legs. So it's very simplified. 4 heads for the top part of the body, 4 heads for the bottom part of the body. Now it varies. Sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 7.5. But that's just a more simplified way of looking at it. And the only difference between the 8 head and the 7.5 or 7 head body is the upper part of the legs. So for the 7.5, it's 1 head comprising the upper part of the leg, as opposed to 2, how it is here. And pretty much everything else is the same. The idea that the arms should be past the groin area is still the same. And it's a very important detail. You want to make sure you draw the arms past the groin, not right where the groin ends. Don't make the tip of the fingers there. So some of you are going to say, well, I'm not going to always draw the figure this way. It's pretty boring. It's always going to be straightforward, and that's absolutely true. But you need a basis. You need somewhere to start when you're trying to decipher what the proportion should be in a different position. So for example, you're drawing somebody running, and they're running towards the camera and the back foot is further away. So how do you make sure that it's in proportion to the rest of the body? Well, you know that, for instance, the foot is about the same size as the head, just slightly bigger. As you can see, the toes are just kind of poking out from that line. Knowing that, you could draw the foot smaller than the size of the head, as opposed to drawing it small and not really knowing what to use as a guide to show, okay, that is proportionate. So knowing this, you have that guide. So when you draw the foot going further back, you know it shouldn't be the same size as the head, right? It's further away. Same thing for it being towards the front. If it's more towards the front, it's not going to be the exact same. Like if it's going towards the camera more, right? You're doing this foreshortening. Your basis is it's about the same size as the head, so it should be slightly bigger. So yeah, this is basically what this is. It's giving you some foundation. It's giving you some groundwork, somewhere to start when you're tackling on more complicated poses, positions, angles, perspectives, so on and so forth. So any way you look at it, this is great time invested. So yeah, these 2 pages are available on Patreon. You could download them. And once you pledge to tier 2, starting with tier 2, which is $5 per month, you get access to all my work. So you could download these pages, you could draw them out, you can have them side by side with you when you're sitting down to draw. And as you see here, it's done multiple times. It's not just done once. I've done it several times, just the same way as pretty much any other process, right? Like when you were reading, learning to read, it's the same concept. You had to repeat over and over and over again, write the alphabet over and over again. You didn't have to just draw it once and that's it. You were great at reading. You memorized everything. So just to note, drawing this out once isn't enough. You should just keep drawing until the times that you sit down to draw from your imagination, you could actually draw it from your imagination. You could say, okay, I remember that these are basically the rules, and test yourself, right? Sit down and draw from your imagination how you remember drawing this out, and then turn to this page in your sketchbook and compare and see, did I do it right? You know, is half the head the same measurement as the width of the arm? Because as you guys could see here, half of the head is the width of the arm. So you could test that out and be like, yep, that's right. Is the head four heads in the top part of the body? And just measure that out. So from the top to the chin, from the chin down to the chest, from the chest down to the waist, and then from the waist down to the groin area. It should be all 4 heads. Anyways, so that's available for you guys. You can have access to it. You can draw this out. I also uploaded different pages like this in order to mix it up a little bit. You don't want to keep drawing the same thing over and over again. That might get a little bit boring. It doesn't for me. I really enjoy it. I think it's fun. It's really simple, and the more you do it, the better you understand the figure. So I uploaded this. This is also available on the Patreon page. You could draw these out when you get bored. You can practice that, and it's just to demonstrate how pretty much most of the parts of the body are cylinder shape. You know, these are all. Once you draw the cylinder shape well, it becomes easier. And it's less intimidating for you to sit down and draw the body, right? Because prior to it, you're like, oh, it's so complicated. Things can be off and not as proportionate. But taking this time to draw this out, you know, this is another page just demonstrating how all at the top, it shows the width, and at the bottom, it shows the height. So you have all these different body parts, and you could see how this plays into it. These measurements up here really play into you getting a better idea of it. All right, so yeah, enough of that. Going back to the drawings. Where was it? Oh, so here. It was here. I'm going to draw another one right here. Again, colliding. Not being fearful of collision between objects. So messy drawing right here. Lots of things happening. Another thing that I haven't done this time is gesture drawing. So even more simplified, even quicker way of trying to establish the parameters for your drawing. So for example, here I want to make sure that the figure is going to fit within this section right here, and that it's not going to go off page. The foot isn't going to go off page. So I just kind of drew the general shape of the body. You know, it has this like kind of bowing sort of gesture. So from there, I'm going to add the feet to just indicate, okay, this is where things at the bottom are cut off, to make sure that I don't go beyond that. And over here is the head, paying attention to the angle of the head. Again, we're drawing it in perspective. So for those of you who say, I don't know how to draw anything other than stick figures, well, you're in luck. It really is very useful. You're already progressing. You're already getting better. Now you just have to build on that. And now I am shaping everything according to this gesture drawing. And things are fitting. And you don't have to draw exactly right down the middle of that guideline, as pretty much all these drawings as well. They're just there for proximity. They're there to guide you, really. And the more and more you build on it, the less and less you deviate from what you've built on previously. So in case of line drawing, yeah, the window's pretty open. You could deviate from it. You can move things a little bit further around, and so on and so forth. But it's there again just to give you some parameters to work within, making sure the drawing fits within it, and to also give you a guideline to the body language. So you may want to draw it bowing this way, but as you, like if you do incremental drawing, like you start out here, then you draw here, then you draw without these guidelines, you might end up making it more straight than curved, you know, just making that honest mistake. But with these guidelines, you tend to avoid that. Less likely are you going to make that mistake. The other benefit of those pages with the head as a unit of measurement is you get to see, you get to draw it in your sketchbook and you get to flip to it. So there's less stuff crowding your desk. You don't have multiple things open. You could use that space for other things. So if you need it, you could just flip back to it, look at it, and then flip back to the page that you want. And it also presents a challenge too, right? Because now you, instead of having it side by side, you could try to memorize it, try to visually memorize it, and informationally memorize it. Like, okay, the head, the width of the hips is 1.5 heads. And then flip to it and be like, yep, that's right. And then flip away from it. And that helps you instill that understanding better. You know, the more you do that, like for instance, you draw out, from a reference, you draw a figure, like this simplified figure. Next time you have the same thing, you know, the same idea. You know what page it's on, so you just flip away from it to a new page. You draw out how you remember it. You make a mistake, no big deal. That's what the point of the sketchbook is. That's why you have all this space to work with it. Start it again. See if you could remember what your mistake was, and then just build from that. And then eventually you don't even have to look at the reference. You could just draw them out. So big benefit to drawing out these guides, these lessons in your sketchbook, rather than having it in a different sketchbook or having it in a book next to you, because it's going to take up space, and you could easily just flip through pages in your sketchbook for it. So I'm pretty satisfied with this. Plenty of space covered. It's going to look even better once it's inked. In fact, I'm so tempted to do that because I really do enjoy inking. And I think I will give in to this temptation. I'm just trying to see like how many other pages I got with empty space. So we got 1, 2. Leave this alone. Leave this alone. Maybe 3 on the bottom over here. 4 for sure. So we got like 4 to 5, I'm gonna say, pages left to fill. So I'm gonna jump into inking these right now. And it really kind of like brings the page to life. I'm skipping a process. I'm skipping the penciling process. You know, you're usually supposed to do a blue pencil as your guidelines, right? As your posts to a building, the blueprints. And then the pencil is supposed to be like more definitive. You're supposed to really give more shape to your drawing using a pencil, a regular pencil. And then inks is when you solidify all that. But recently I've just been cutting out the pencil part and just sticking to the blue pencil. I really, really like it. There's something about it, and I think growing up, looking at it, it always made me think, oh, it's so professional, it's so pro. And it's fun. It's a pencil and it has blue color. It's just a fun medium. And I also like the texture of it, how it feels. It's different. It's different from like an HB pencil, like a regular lead pencil. And yet again, another reason why I love traditional drawing as opposed to digital. I enjoy digital, but in the future, with more projects, comics that I'll be working on, I'm gonna push for purely traditional. It doesn't matter to me how more advanced things become technologically when it comes to like Wacom tablets and all that other stuff. It's never going to substitute my love for the mediums and how they feel. Like even this experience is really cool. Like these mediums kind of become your body part in a sense. You could feel how they form themselves on the paper. You feel like the fluidity and the ink that's coming out on the brush tip. And then, you practice enough and you could really feel the brush tip up against the paper, and it's like most finest point, the finest line, and that's a really cool experience. I really like that. Now, I'm not knocking digital, I'm not saying it's bad. I just really enjoy traditional. And recently I've been like, I have a Kindle Paperwhite that I recently updated as well. And while I do enjoy it, I have a bunch of books that I still haven't finished. And I really enjoy the process of reading a book as well, as opposed to like staring yet at another screen. And it's really becoming more of like a principle too, like just having to constantly stare at screens all the time, just social media, your phone, and having to always be literally plugged in. I'm not enjoying that. So just having to read a book is great. But what I noticed, what really puts me off from reading it, whether it's comic or whether it's a novel, is lighting. And that's such an important, like an extremely important aspect of drawing as well. If your lighting sucks, if you're not paying attention to how the lamp is actually placed, for example, if I switch this over to the other side, to the right side more, it's going to cast a shadow on a paper and I won't be able to see what I'm inking, for example, what I'm drawing. And that kind of, for me, I don't know about you guys, or other people who are doing comics and such, but that really bugs me. Like, it really puts me off from wanting to draw, or it just makes it a fight rather than a pleasant experience. I'm trying to like see what I'm drawing. It's kind of in the dark. I think it just psychologically affects your desire to keep drawing and so on and so forth. Like even this, I really moved it over even further towards the opposite side of my arm, and I could already see how much more has been illuminated. So yeah, I ended up buying this, talking about books, and what puts me off from reading a comic or reading a book is the lighting. You have to have like really good lighting in your apartment, in your room, next to your couch, or wherever it is that you're reading, to not like struggle with it, or I don't know, just a simple idea that it's in more light and it's brighter makes it more of an intimate experience. Like, you really dive into it. So I bought this like reading light where you hang it around your neck, and they're like swivel things, so you could just like position them in the angle that you want them to like illuminate the pages, and it's really bright. It really like illuminates the entire page rather than gradually dissipating into darker shadows on the paper. And I think that's really gonna skyrocket my desire to read more books. Because I have like, for instance, I have Flash Gordon, awesome book, beautiful drawings, but when I sit down and try to read it, it's really dim. It darkens the colors, it dulls the colors rather, not only darkens them, but dulls them out. But then when I illuminate, or like when I was sitting and I was showing you guys with the lamp on top, I was so into it. So I'm waiting for that to arrive. Should be cool. There's one thing I could say that's positive about this feature on iPhone, where it shows you your time that you spent on the phone. Like, it shows like, what do you spend most of your time on? So despite me not liking that it's tracking it, and I'm planning to just like not have that active. Once again, it's these corporations and companies just collecting all this information on you. It's just totally not into it. More manipulation, more advertisement, and all that other stuff at your expense. But yeah, I look at the weekly report or whatnot, and it's ridiculous. Like, I'm trying to cut out social media as much as possible. Like, I start to not even realize how much time. It's not even, that I'm consciously doing that, and I'm like, oh, I really got to cut it out. It's become a point where I just, it's been a habit, so the habit of the amount of time I spent on it is becoming less and less noticeable. I mean, obviously, it's going the opposite direction where I am noticing it. But it's just to say, how we program ourselves kind of, and then after a while it just becomes automatic. So the idea that constantly staring at screens it's like programming in a sense, right? You just become more and more accustomed to that, and being away from it feels almost off if you do it long enough. The dependency on it becomes like a routine. So I am countering it by reading actual books, not staring at the screen, doing things traditionally when it comes to drawing, as opposed to digital. So like multiple benefits to traditional drawing. And honestly, I think I'm much faster at it than digital. Like if you guys have been part of the project stream, which, oh, look at that. I was sensing that I might be going overboard here. But yeah, if you guys were part of the project stream, you could notice how sometimes it takes me a bit to draw the line that I like. It just has to do with the disconnect between my eye and the pencil. You know, I'm staring at the screen and I'm hoping my hand will make the right line. And even though that's great practice, you know, it's very similar to blind contour drawing, it's still slightly frustrating, I'll be honest. Especially when I notice the difference between when I sit down and draw traditionally and when I'm doing it digitally. So with this last one right here, y'all, I'm gonna have to end the stream for drawing basics. But fret not, I'm only gonna take a 5-minute break, and I will be back for the project stream, which I'm pretty excited about. I started a new project for those of you who are just tuning in. It's a new concept that I'm working on, and I'm pretty excited about getting back into it and getting further along in it. It's still in the very beginning stages. Like, I'm pretty sure, and this is probably the benefit, well, it's most definitely the benefit of streaming as well, as I could go back and see, like, this is where it started and this is where it ended, and just compare and see the difference in it. Alright, y'all, so if you enjoy the content, hit the subscribe button. Remember to hit the like button. They both really help the stream grow and branch out to more people just like you who are interested in art, who want to be part of an artistic community, a familiar place to go to. So yeah, I'll be greatly appreciated, and I'll see you guys in 5 minutes.